Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today we are continuing our spooky season focused content here with a couple of remake reviews. I'm talking about Friday the 13th and Amityville Horror. Pop that tape in, I got you. Let's go do this. All right, so we have a couple of awesome 4Ks here. One from Scream Factory, the Amityville Horror, and one from Arrow Video in the Friday the 13th remake. I hesitate to call this a remake because they actually reference the first two films, stuff from the first two films in this movie. So remake feels more like a sequel, kind of. And then Amityville Horror is definitely a remake, and I'm trying to think. I think this is from I want to say it's from 2005. Yeah, 2005. This is 2009, obviously. So a couple things first. Both of these were shot on film. They were both shot with, I think, Arriflex 435 and 235 cameras. With Panavision lenses, stuff like that. I think this was shot with Kodak Vista or VivaVision film. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, but I'd heard, a couple of people say, "Oh, it's digital. It's not going to look filmic." These were not shot digital. I think like Attack of the Clones was the first thing that was shot entirely digital, and Lucas had access to different digital cameras then. Like the Red One digital camera really didn't come into full use, and like I think it started shipping for usage around the end of 2007. There might have been a few productions that got it before that, but it wasn't very widely used. So these were both on film, but they do have that very slick looking, I want to say slick looking early 2000s to 2010s horror film look. They like the light, like they have very bright lighting in night scenes with rain and everything, or in the woods. Like, I mean, you could totally walk through the middle of the woods at night with the lighting in this without running into anything, without needing a flashlight or anything. And it's sort of the same thing with Amityville Horror. And they've got both have these beautiful lens flares and things like that. So they definitely are slick looking. I think someone mentioned that it looked like an MTV music video. They're much slicker looking than that. And I think that does cost the films a little something. It does a little bit. And we'll talk about it, but let's start with the Amityville Horror here, because this one's the more clear remake. Ryan Reynolds and Melissa George star in this, and I think it's a young crud. What's her name? Girl that played in Kick-Ass, just Chloe Grace Moritz, however you say her name. And she, they move in. It's the exact same story as the original. They just so it's the Lutz family. They move into this house where these murders have happened, and then they go and they only live there for 28 days. It starts to drive the father insane. Things start happening. The priest, all that same to get out, all that stuff happens, but it suffers from a little bit from that early 2000s, man, like that 2000 to 2012 ish range or so, where they felt they had to explain everything. And so they go into the whole buried on an Indian burial ground, and catch 'em, kill 'em, like this guy who killed Native Americans and all this kind of stuff. And they have to go into the explanation. Whereas in the original film, you don't need all that. Like, and you don't really need it in this. Like, it was, you understood. They say in the movie that there is basically a passage to hell in the house, like a gateway to hell. And it kind of sets atop of that. It's like a thin spot in dimensions, essentially. And that to me, like, makes more, I don't know, it leaves it open for more imagination, for your imagination to run wild and be, scared. And I wish they'd have kind of done more with that, maybe like show like maybe other ghosts or demons that are able to get in and out from there. So if you were going to change it up and add that kind of stuff to the story, I would have maybe done something like that, where something more physical, like the whole Indian burial ground, is like a overdone trope. I mean, it does happen. It does happen, but almost anywhere you build anything in the United States, there's probably somebody buried there somewhere from some time. You'd be sitting on top of a dinosaur right now. You wouldn't even know it. But I would have maybe gone with the passage to hell thing, and had other just like random demons, like, kind of thing like that. But it was like at a time where they wanted to explain everything. And but it is a great looking 4K. We'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. Slip cover, and you got your case, and this is what it looks like. I mean, no big no reversible art on this. So it is that is not the original art. I actually think I have the original DVD and poster art. Okay, so yeah, I do. This is the original DVD and poster art. And I gotta say, I think I kind of like it better. I kind of like it better. You got the house down there. You still have him out there with the axe. I know everything's reflecting. But I don't know. You could maybe I don't know, maybe it's somewhere in a mix between these two. I definitely like the back of this one better, with the get out on there, than just like the pictures of everybody. But I think it's a good fun movie. And as far as how it looks, like, so it is a full 4K restoration, right? And it says this one, a 4K scan from the original DI film negative. So the digital intermediate film negative. And it's got Dolby Vision. It's got an audio commentary. I think that is archival with Ryan Reynolds. So it's not stacked with tons of extra features, but it is going to look the best it ever looked. And when we talk about that, so one of the first things I do when I start evaluating a 4K like this with a horror film, if it has a scene where it's nighttime, where it's raining, I'm going to go to that scene. Because what kind of detail we can retain in that is going to tell me a lot about the 4K. And in this, yeah, I mean, the night scene at the end when it's all coming to a head and he's chasing them with an axe, which is something that was kind of added in. He's chasing them on top of the house, and you see, and he's going through the house, and you see lightning flashing, and you see the rain falling and the moonlight going through them. Yes, it's overlit. There's no way it's ever that bright outside. Especially if it's raining at night, it's not going to be that bright. The moon isn't anyway. But it looks super cool visually, and the amount of detail that is held in there is outstanding. It is outstanding throughout the whole film. Like, I mean, it just looks, it almost, because the way it's shot, the way it's lit and everything, it does almost look digital. It almost loses the filmic quality, but the 4K does save that just a little bit. So I like that, but man, they do. And it, like, I could forgive someone for thinking it's shot digitally, because this one is kind of the same way. They're so slick that they look almost digital. And I would say the other thing with that you run the risk, and this is the problem with the other one, is you lose a grittiness to them. That kind of adds to it. Like the original Amityville Horror, it has these fall vibes with all these colorful and dead leaves blowing all the time through every scene. You might see it on another list because of that. It has all these leaves blowing through every scene. So you see these colors that are kind of saturated, but then faded over. And there is a grittiness to it all. And when you make it this slick and they kind of, the way the color treatment is, it kind of takes that all away. But I mean, I still really like this. I enjoy this. It is a great looking 4K. But it definitely has that slick early 2000s feel to it. I think Ryan Reynolds is really good in this movie. He has that, because he plays such a nice guy usually and so fun loving and everything all the time. When he turns, it is rough, man. Like, and you buy it because it's like, I always think, if you have a football coach, this is my analogy. If you had a football coach and he yells all the time, it doesn't get through to you. After a while, it's just like you're used to it. You don't pay any attention to it. But if you got one that's nice and quiet and he tells you what you need to know, and then you piss him off to the point where he has to yell at you, you stand up and pay attention. And I think that's it. Like, he plays a character that is always fun and chill and easygoing and witty. And when he turns psycho, basically, you're like, oh shit. And you pay attention. And I think that's a hell of a performance. And it's a good movie. It adds some scares if you want that. It adds the explanation if you want that. But the 4K looks outstanding. Is it the best 4K that I've seen lately from Scream Factory? No, but like, it is perfect. It's not their fault that the film almost looks digital by the way it was lit, colored, and shot. But it looks outstanding. Like, it will never look better than this. They do not miss usually on their 4Ks. And one way that you can tell, and I don't know if I got a shot of this or not, because as you guys know, all the footage that I've showed you, it's just me filming with my TV. It's nothing scientific. It's just to give you an idea. You can see on the film when it's raised to 4K where they just slightly misfocus on some shots for just split seconds, whether it's on someone's face or on something. You can see where that focus goes just a little soft. And that tells you that's more of a telltale sign that it's film and that they were measuring for focus and different stuff like that. And they just missed it. And the 4K shows that to you. But it's a great 4K. I say it's one that you need to own, but I'm a big Amityville horror fan. So that is that one. On to our other remake, sequel, whatever you want to call it. Friday the 13th. I've done a whole video on this, defending this movie. I think it gets way too much hate. I think it is a damn fine entry into the Friday the 13th franchise. It is one of my favorite Friday the 13th films. Maybe my favorite Friday the 13th film. Probably is my favorite Friday the 13th film. And I know that might be sacrilege. Part 4. It's close. But I don't know what you want. Like, as far as an ode to the 80s, this is it. This is it. 80s slashers, original Friday the 13th movies. Like I said, you see like boobs 4 times and you see a sex scene, a butt, and like 8 kills or something like that. And you see Jason all before the opening credits. I think Jared Padalecki is awesome in this. Big Supernatural fan, but I think he is a good sympathetic hero. You root for him. And as I've talked about before, he's a big dude. So you get a legitimate fight between him and Jason, who's played by Derek Mears in this. And I've told a story about how awesome Derek Mears is, where he bought one of my movies and actually had me sign it at a horror convention. Super cool dude. I loved him in this. I love scary, kind of like when you see him run is reminiscent of like the first time I saw it, like in Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, when those zombies ran for the first time. It kicked it up a whole other notch. Now, it suffers from that same early 2000s horror thing where they wanted to explain everything. It happened in Amityville Horror. It happened in this movie. It happened in the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. You want to take away his supernatural ability, explain it away with these tunnels and string and bell systems and all kinds of bullshit like that. But then you still backed out on it at the end, and he comes back to life after being killed. So you threw all that away and said, yeah, he's supernatural anyway. So I can kind of forgive it, but that is my one glaring problem with this movie. But it has so many incredible kills, so much fun. The great cast of, like I've said, Travis Van Winkle as the douche canoe, who I just want to choke to death. Just clean, just knock him out. Tells me how good he was at playing a jackass in this movie. And you got Danielle Panabaker, right? And I really enjoy this movie. Like the clips that I'm showing you from this, I did the exact same thing when we talk about how good this movie looks. I knew exactly where I wanted to go to see that. At the end, yeah, we've always got to fight in the rain at night in a thunderstorm. I mean, it's just the same thing happened in the Amityville Horror remake. Of course, the original, it did that too. But they're the big showdown with Jared Padalecki and his sister, and I can't remember the actress who plays his sister. You have almost two final girls and a final dude in this movie, so it's kind of different. The whole big fight with Jason goes down in this barn, so you got that sort of vibes. It starts at Camp Crystal Lake, so you got that, and then he chases them, and they end up at this barn. It's storming outside. It's lightning outside. You see this pouring down rain. I'm going to tell you, the colors in this movie, this one has a little more of a filmic look. It's still very slickly shot and probably overlit in some places. And that's where some people, with the lens flare, and that's where some people say music video. But yeah, the cinematography is beautiful. There's panning shots. There's these wide shots. There's a shot where Padalecki is driving into the sunset. Really great shots and cinematography in this. But at the end, when this fight goes down and they're in and out of like around this barn, and so you have the colors from this barn. It's nighttime. The lightning's flashing. You see the rain falling behind them. It is absolutely, I mean, you see it in such detail. You see every like individual raindrop. If you look close enough, you see little bits of water and dirt and grime on their face. When Jason turns, you see like the grime and gore and stuff on his neck and face. It is just outstanding in detail and quality. But here is also where you see, and maybe I got this, where you can tell it's shot on film, and the 4K shows you stuff you never saw before because they misfocus. They go a little soft focus. They go on her face, a little soft focus. At the end, the other scene that I wanted really bad, where they throw Jason in the water and you see the mask sinking down, it actually goes a little soft focus on that mask with this beautiful underwater shot that shows you everything a 4K can do and that filming with film can do. It is out freaking standing, that shot underwater with the sun rays coming through it. But you see that little missed focus shot. But I feel like that scene at the end where they're fighting in the rain and in the barn, and then going directly to that sunrise scene out by the lake, the contrast with those two, and then the underwater shot with the light coming through it, those show me everything I need to know about how damn good this 4K is. And it is awesome. You get two cuts of this film on 4K. So you get the killer cut, which is the extended cut, and you get the theatrical cut on 4K. You do get some other features on here. You get a poster that's in here. We'll show you that in a minute. You get an illustrated booklet. And you do have some archival stuff. This thing is presented in Dolby Vision and HDR10. It doesn't have a Dolby Atmos track. It's a DTS, which I'm totally fine with. Then it has another disc of Blu-ray stuff. And it has another disc of Blu-ray stuff. My kids are in there going nuts, man. It has another disc of stuff on Blu-ray that is like extra features that have come over but it is absolutely loaded if you want to watch them all. And getting both cuts in 4K is a big deal. You take this off. The artwork, I really think the artwork is super cool. I really do. And then you have the case, and it's a thicker case because it's got more discs in it. It's a 3-disc set here. You got your 4K here. Is it 2 discs? 2-disc set? I thought it was 3 discs. Am I missing a disc? Here is your poster with the original. I think this is the original artwork on the one side, and the new artwork on the other side. I wish, like, I'm tempted to buy a second one just so that I can have both posters displayed. But the poster is very, very cool. Am I like crazy, man? I thought this was no, it's just 2 discs. So everything is going to be on 4K. I don't know why I was thinking that third one was on a Blu-ray. It's on a 4K Blu-ray. Here is your booklet. So you got a lot of extras with some artwork there. I really wish they'd have done a chunky box for this, but I'll take what I can get. You got your little postcard from Crystal Lake. And I don't know. I'm a big fan of this movie. And this 4K is by far, it didn't look bad on Blu-ray. I'm going to be honest with you. It did not look bad on Blu-ray, but there are things that you can definitely tell. And I didn't even, the footage you saw is not even from an OLED. That is just from a Sony Bravia 4K television, QLED. And so it's got some light bleed and things like that you don't have with an OLED. So it will look even better on that. And then that is a video of my TV screen. So I think this is an amazing 4K. I really enjoy this movie. This is a really good 4K too. It is a pristine picture. There is nothing more that anybody could have done with it to make it look any better at all. So both of these I am very proud to have. These are 2 of the few remakes that I really like. I just recently did a video on maybe like 5 films that could make horror films that could maybe be remade. I'm not really a proponent of remakes. I argue that this is more of a sequel than a remake, but these are both really good movies. I highly suggest, and I don't take that lightly because I know you guys, you're like me, you can't afford to buy everything. But I mean, these are remakes of classics and they are done so damn well. And they're so enjoyable, and the 4Ks are pristine. I don't think there's anything more you can ask. And I would tell you if I didn't think of 4K, like the color treatment on this, but this is what the color looked like. This is that old early 2000s, late 90s grungy looking feel. So yes, they both lost some of the raw grittiness because of how slick they are shot, but they're the originals had that these don't. And I would have personally put that in. That's the kind of feel that I like. I like gritty. Like I like to make my films, their digital, look like that as much as I can. I think it adds something to it. But I think they're beautifully shot. This one is beautifully shot. And the film looks great. Both are fun films. I highly recommend. And that is my horror remake reviews here for spooky season. Of course, I'll do other reviews of horror films as I get in and mix those in here in spooky season. But let me know what you think. Did you get these 4Ks? Are you planning to pick up these 4Ks? What did you think of them when you watched them? Are you fans of these movies? Talk to me below. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. We do 4K reviews here. We do lists. We do physical media news, all from a fan and filmmaker's perspective and a collector just like you guys. And I enjoy it all so much. If that's the kind of stuff that you're interested in, consider joining the channel below on my Patreon or at YouTube here. The links are below. Couple dollars here and there. You get behind the scenes, extra reviews, behind the scenes of my filmmaking, all that kind of stuff. See how a scene is brought to life. Of course, you get your name here in lights as part of the Pop Culture Friends family. or hell, even a pop culture icon. You get some free swag, all kinds of stuff if you're interested in that. But you don't have to do any of that to hang around here and help me out. Just like, subscribe, ring that bell, and spread the pop culture word. I thank you all so much for being here. I enjoy it. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
I know.